Support for The Gaming Outsider is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming champions of the world. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right, the 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code THEGOCAST at manscaped.com. Hey there, Go community. It's episode 365, and Zack, CB, and I take another deep dive into news this week, but this time it's the Nintendo Direct for September. In other news, there's trouble with a Perfect Dark game, and we get a first look at the Last of Us TV series. You'll also hear our impressions of games including Diablo 2 Resurrected, Hoa, and Chernobylite. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 365 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, September 27th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my friends. First off, a guy that hosts Bethesda will send him a free PS5, Mr. Zack Parkerson.
I don't hope that. I don't want anything for those scumbags.
What?
Bethesda, come on. Bethesda's not a great company. But, yes, a voice actor got a free PS5. Good for him.
It was kind of a cool story, especially because it was a PS5 coming from a Microsoft-owned company, which was interesting. But
I mean, I don't think it's particularly cool myself, but that's all right.
Well, we'll get into that in just a second. Also joining us, Mr. Chris Behrensmeyer. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. You and I both missed last week, but man, Zack and Alyssa really brought it. I went back and listened to the episode while I was sitting at work doing some prepping, and I was enjoying it, man. I was really digging it. You made me want to get into anime at the end.
There you go. Oh, yeah, we did have quite a chat.
Yeah, you did. It was like, oh, I guess we better wrap it up. And I looked at the time thing, and it was like 10 minutes left. I was like, oh, they're going to talk about some stuff.
some real weeb nonsense.
Yeah. So tell me, why is this whole story about the actor from Deathloop getting a free PS5 bug you so much?
Well, it doesn't really bug me. It just doesn't. Everyone posted about it like it was a feel-good story, but it was a man posting on. It was a person posting on social media in an obvious attempt to throw out a lure. And of course, a major company would buy it. Like, that's such a good and easy marketing opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't. So no, I don't think it's a feel-good story. I think it's smart marketing.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Especially being that it's a PlayStation, but I just thought it was funny. Like, even he was like, I'm in the game, I can't play it because I can't find a PS5 because it's still difficult to find a console.
Is it not on PlayStation 4?
Is it on PlayStation 4? I thought it was a PS5 exclusive.
I'm fairly certain it's a PS4 game as well.
Huh. Oh, I did not realize that. My bad.
I could be wrong, I guess. Anyway.
Do you think it'll come to Xbox, though, now? I mean...
Well, I think it's a year, right?
Is that what it is? Is it a year exclusive?
I could have swore they had said as such.
I did not remember. I did not have my finger on the pulse for this game too much, to be honest with you, up until like it released and started getting glowing scores, and I started taking a closer look at it.
Yeah.
But I did get a chance to play it. You know what? I'll kick things off. I played it a little bit. A friend of mine loaned me his copy while he was out of town, and I played it. I did not play very long. I played about 30 minutes, and it feels very much like a Dishonored style game in terms of the gameplay. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It just, you know, you ever play a game and you just feel like you've played a game by that developer before? That's what it felt like. I didn't even play it long enough to get through an entire loop, but I will say the humor is something I was not expecting. The dialogue is pretty funny. Some of the mechanics, you know, marking the enemies, you can actually mark enemies and see, you know, what they're going to attack you with, what their strengths and weaknesses are. I thought that was kind of cool.
Is it really funny though? It's like actually funny.
It's not like Borderlands funny, if that's what you're worried about. I can see it in your eyes.
Oh, that's what all the trailers seem like.
Honestly, I got more of and I don't mean this from the humorous side, I got more of a BioShock tone from it in terms of like hearing things in the background where you're hearing voices, you know, over loudspeakers and PAs, and you're finding audio dialogue to try to piece together pieces of information. I don't know. It felt like audio dialogues, or what do you call those? Audio logs in BioShock, but with more purpose instead of just merely listening to it. So I did not get deep enough to really give a full deal on it, but I liked it enough that I think I'm going to pick it up. So
I'm going to circle back and say Deathloop, I just looked it up, is a PS5 exclusive, although it was listed on the PS Store for PS4 for apparently a while before they caught it. So that's probably where I got confused.
Okay.
Quite a mix-up also kind of indicates probably will come to PS4, because that's a weird mix-up otherwise.
Yeah, why would they put it on there if it wasn't planned to come there? But
yeah.
Anyway, CB, what else have you been catching up on? I see quite a list here.
Well, I mean, it's been some time.
It has been some time. Was it 2 weeks you've been gone?
Yeah, thereabouts. But
yeah,
I also had a really busy day today. So I hit almost 4,000 achievement points today.
Just today alone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I give up. I'm officially not trying anymore.
So real quick, I'll get these ones out of the way real quick. Gaps by Poggy and Mix-Ups by Poggy. It's a company that's been doing these like word games.
Yeah, I remember you talking about them in the past.
Yeah, they're fun. I finished both of them today. I played the Mix-Up one a little bit before. Like there's just like a block of letters and you have to make words out of it based on
like
a theme.
Boggle?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
That one was real quick and easy.
Sounds like it belongs on a cell phone instead of a
most
console.
Of these games do.
Okay.
But Gaps is another one. You're given anywhere from 1 to 8 words with one letter missing out of each, and they all make like one word with the missing letters.
Oh, that was like the thing in the newspaper that they used to do. Like one of them was a circle where the rest were squares, and then
Yep.
Yeah.
So just another one of those. Both of them really easy 1,000 achievement points.
All right.
You can probably do each of them in under 45 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
So, I played a sequel game called Freddy's Spaghetti 2.0.
You actually paid money for a game called Freddy's Spaghetti.
It was
2.0.
$3.
It was $3?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get all the 1,000 achievement points on this one?
About an hour. So,
Okay.
And it's a sequel. I played the first one where you play a piece of sentient spaghetti.
Were there a lot of unanswered questions?
No, because the first one ended and you're like, okay. And then I was surprised that they made a sequel to this. But here's the interesting kick. But so the first one, you play a piece of sentient spaghetti that keeps getting larger and larger and attacking humans. This time around, they put the piece of spaghetti in The Office. Like the show The Office, like it's a spoof of it.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like there's just like the platforming was on an office chair and a table or desk or something like that.
No, so you're basically doing office tasks, like trying to code as a piece of spaghetti. But I don't
understand, man.
Yeah, you only use right bumper, left bumper, and the one of the thumbsticks as like a direction, and you either control one end of the piece of spaghetti or the other, and you like have to launch yourself around. So trying to type on a keyboard that way is kind of funny. But then it has mini games where you play Pong and foosball as a piece of spaghetti.
This seems like a game that wants to get the attention of streamers.
Yeah. But it's really quick. I mean, most of the levels are only 1 minute or less. And it's 40 levels. So
I kind of like just want to look up and see the video and see what it looks like.
It's WarioWare Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
A bunch of micro games.
Pretty much. But yeah, you share a Xbox account with me, Scott. You can check it out, man. It's weird. So
I can't believe that a game like this actually exists.
There are dumber games out there, man. So those were my 3 big achievement point chasers. I got 1,000 on each of those. Then I also downloaded Skatebird off Game Pass.
I heard that's terrible.
It is not good.
Yeah.
It is a very crappy rendition of Tony Hawk with terrible controls. Man, you would hate it, Scott, because every mission in the game is timed.
Yeah, I'm not.
Well, as is Tony Hawk.
Yeah, but Tony Hawk, you have the freedom to do like multiple things at once.
Correct.
This, like, you have to do the one mission, and then the next, and then the next. It's really
that's quite frustrating.
It is. The control's really bad. If you accidentally hit the left bumper, you squawk and flap your wings, which kind of makes you move weird, and you tend to bail a lot. So I would it's free on Game Pass. If it wasn't, I definitely would not have checked this one out. It's not a game for me. I'm pretty much done with it already.
I'm looking at Freddy Spaghetti 2.0. This game looks dumb.
It is dumb, but it's easy achievements, man.
I mean, you're like trying to climb upstairs as this piece of spaghetti and try to crawl across a pool table and jump from... This game is...
Dude, there's a game out there called I Am Bread.
Yeah.
That game is legitimately hard, though.
All right, so these food-based games...
Yeah, they're not the greatest. Other than that, I dove back into 2 games that I have been in love with for a while. I've been playing a lot of Story of Seasons at work.
Yeah.
Sounds relaxing.
Yes, to me, it's just that Harvest Moon feel. And then I just want to show Scott my farm, though, just so I can watch his like OCD like drive.
You don't do
bananas.
straight rows, do you?
No, I don't.
Oh my God, I don't want to see it.
You do a 3x3 grid. That's how it's done.
Yeah, 3x3 grid with the auto sprinkler in the center.
Sure.
So that way you get like 8 crops at once.
Yeah,
that sounds fine. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, but I build them weird.
Yeah.
You don't have the
3x3 grids on a bigger grid system. That's what you do.
Yeah, but the problem with this is like you don't have the big open areas. Like they're kind of, there's little islands, so you're kind of limited by like how much space you have.
All right.
So it's just planning out. And then since I've been taking a break from Binding of Isaac, I hop back into Dead Cells.
Oh, really? There's been DLC since you played that, hasn't there?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, what's different? Because I love Dead Cells. I haven't relearned that game, but
I haven't really touched much of the DLC yet. There's been some new weapons I've come across. But I've also been trying to get back into the rhythm of playing it.
Uh-huh.
And I've cleared it for the 5th time. So starting this week, I'm going to be diving into the DLC because I'm like, I have a firm grasp on like how I like to play this again.
So is it like new weapons or is it actually new areas?
There's new weapons, new areas. There's some new bosses. So I'm looking forward to it because this was the first like roguelike game that I really liked.
Yeah, I remember.
And now that I'm back in the groove of things, just clearing it fairly easily. I did one of the timed like daily runs and managed to get through that.
Oh, okay.
So I'm digging it, man. I can't wait to report back next week on what the DLC brings.
Dead Cells was like my moment of zen, just zone out game for a while.
Yeah.
Like I was getting like to where I felt like I was doing a speed run, even though you can't really do a speed run on a procedurally generated game. But I just had it down, and I was just like waiting for the drops that I wanted for the weapons that my combo was one of the weapons that froze enemies, and then you'd whip them or something like that. I don't remember my exact combo, but it felt good when you got
whipping traps, man.
You like traps?
Whips and traps. That's how I go. And they do encourage speedrunning in it because they have those additional doors throughout the levels that unlock if you get there before a certain time.
And I didn't know that when I was playing it. I was like, how the hell do I open up these doors? I could not figure out what was going on.
Yeah, the last run that I had that I cleared all the way to the final boss, I actually opened every single door.
Holy cow. Isn't there an achievement for that?
I'm playing it on my Switch.
Oh, well.
But yeah, I'm loving it. So I will report back on new DLC next week.
Cool. Zach, what about you? Catching up on anything?
Just inching my way through Tales of Arise. I'm not playing as much as I want because I have to play a different game that I also can't talk about yet.
Uh-huh. Oh, you're that guy.
Well, no, I need to explain why I haven't been able to put as much time into this. I did start to get really into the leveling up system, which is quite unusual for me.
All right.
Your characters,
you hate skill trees.
Yeah, but there's something about the way the skill system is structured in this. It's like little clusters of 5 skills that like have something to do with each other, and they all relate to a new title you get in the world, right? Like a hero of the people for Elfin, or like great cook for Xi'an or something like that. But anyway, when you fill out the cluster, you get like a bonus permanent stat to your core stats, and it's kind of fun to chase them a little bit. And it's
cool.
kind of taking me by surprise.
Combat still as fun as it was 2 weeks ago?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's I'm having a lot of fun with it. I am kind of basking in this world and kind of enjoying a long game rather than trying to push through it immediately. Just trying to take my time and exist in it a little bit, which is it's kind of refreshing for me. That's not something I normally do.
Interesting, man. I'm glad you're digging that. I heard you talk about it last week, and
yeah.
You are definitely digging that game. You make the combat sound like it's just like a ton of fun.
Yeah, it's very evolved. Yeah, it's like you kind of. I just unlocked like a second. Like if you hold left trigger, you can unlock a second set of abilities you use while you're melee fighting, and it's just it really opens up the game for combos and stuff. It's a lot of fun, man. Right? Yeah, I definitely recommend it for sure. Before we move on, I'm like, oh boy. Well, there's 5 realms. I finished the 3rd, so I'm almost doing like a realm a week at this point.
That's not a bad clip.
No, I wish it was a better clip. Gosh darn it, but it is what it is. Before we move on, though, a few weeks ago we talked about Steam's refund thing. I want to issue a bit of a retraction because I was listening to a different podcast with, I would say, prominent members of games media, and they were like joking around about using Steam refund for games. And I realized I should not have had a momentary lapse in judgment where I had any kind of faith in humanity at all, and that people are terrible, and of course they're going to abuse it. So I need to issue a retraction. They do have to. The 2-hour window is probably too large, and also, what a scummy scummy thing. I had thought if you were into video games greatly, you would have the, I don't know, conviction to not do scummy things like that to struggling developers. But I guess people of all sorts of prominence do, and that's terrible.
It's the old adage, man. Give an inch, they take a mile.
It's unbelievable. These are the same people who are probably complaining about it. Anyway.
Probably.
Terrible stuff.
I hate to be an I told you so, but I did tell you so.
I apologize for my brief insanity where I actually thought people could be good. That was my mistake. And I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
All right, man. We'll hold you to that. We'll see. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news, though. Few new trailers dropped this week. Blossom Tales 2 coming to Switch and Steam in 2022. Wildcat Gun Machine on PC, PS4, Xbox One, Switch in late 2021. Go watch that trailer. Please go watch that trailer. It's hilarious. A game called Lil Gator coming to Switch and PC in 2022. And as far as the news, this week we found out that Far Cry 6's ray tracing will be exclusive to PC. We got an announcement for October's PlayStation Plus freebies. Apparently they've been leaked early, so it's not 100% confirmed, but they look pretty legit. We also got a first look at HBO's adaptation of The Last of Us television series, and the initiative is going to be co-developing Perfect Dark with Crystal Dynamics. Lots of things to talk about. CB, you've been gone for a little bit while. Let's let you have first dibs. Which story would you like to talk about?
I want to talk about the initiative.
All right.
So the initiative is going to be co-developing Perfect Dark with Crystal Dynamics. So it was originally the initiative that was going to be making this game, and they're bringing in Crystal Dynamics, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so man, like the initiative has yet to actually fully make a game. So,
yep. Despite being promised as the world's first quadruple A studio.
Yeah, I'm just really surprised. I'm like, wow, this was quick, because Perfect Dark just got announced, and already they're like, it's too much for us, man. We need to bring in some help. It
got announced, and then its director quit 2 months after.
Yeah.
And then now they're co-developing with the studio, Crystal Dynamics, who is not not like a support studio, right? Like that's an actual big name developer. I think it's safe to say Perfect Dark's in some pretty significant trouble.
Yeah, especially with because the parent company of Crystal Dynamics is Square Enix Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is also just weird because Square Enix has such a relationship with Sony.
Yeah. Well, I just find it funny that this is coming out of, like, I didn't expect this to be coming, and there's been the rumor on the wire that Xbox is getting ready to make another big acquisition.
No, I don't believe those rumors even mildly.
Well,
last week they were all over Twitter, like
I did some math.
Oh boy.
So Square Enix isn't as big as you think it is.
I don't think it's that big. I think the PR and marketing hit Xbox would take would be disastrous if they bought Square Enix. Like, as mad as people got over Bethesda, a company that's so associated with the PlayStation brand getting bought by Xbox would be, I just can't even imagine the reputation damage that would do to Xbox.
Not from the Xbox fans, but
I don't like it either. As an Xbox fan, I don't like it.
I don't know. I'd like to see it happen, but Square Enix is a publicly traded company, surprisingly only worth $2.7 billion.
That's not that big. That's pretty big.
But compared to the Bethesda buy...
Well, yeah.
And when you think about that Bethesda, which was not as valued, and they had to pay $7 billion, the check that they would have to sign over to Square Enix would be astronomical. Because now you've also established a pattern where if you're a publisher and they're like, we'll buy you for $5 billion, you're going to be like, no, I know you cash $7 billion checks to people who aren't even worth half of that. So absolutely not.
Well, that's where this gets kind of funny. Because Square Enix is a publicly traded company. They could just buy up the shares and be like,
think if Microsoft did a hostile takeover of a publisher that it would go well?
Sure, let's do it. I'm all about shaking things up, but
I am not about corporate consolidate. Corporate consolidation is going to destroy the world.
CB, let's be honest. You're all about anything that makes Microsoft bigger. Is really what it is. Which is weird because you have a PlayStation 5. It's not like
everybody thinks I'm so diehard Xbox, but I'm like secretly I also love Sony. So I just
sure don't act like it.
Because I'm waiting for the flip. It's always been like one company controls the consoles in that generation, then it flips.
Well, Xbox has to put out some games first. And this is not the right way to do it.
No, it's not. No. I'm actually kind of surprised because the lead for Perfect Dark, he even took a demotion to go to a different company.
That's the funniest part.
So I was never a huge Perfect Dark fan, but this is already just like, ooh, I don't know if this one's gonna fly, man. It's not looking good for this game already.
Now again,
I wanted to like Perfect Dark so much. It just felt like knockoff GoldenEye to me.
I like Joanna Dark as a character quite a bit, but I'm hoping at the end of the day Perfect Dark is good. And I guess Crystal Dynamics does have a bit of an Xbox relationship because Rise of the Tomb Raider was exclusive for a year. But this is terrible news. If you're looking forward to Perfect Dark, this is bad news. Especially like Crystal Dynamics isn't exactly the world's favorite developer right now.
No, they're not.
After Avengers?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I mean, are we looking at like a Duke Nukem Forever situation where, another company comes in and shakes things up and then the end product is just not at all what it was supposed to be?
Eternal development hell.
Yeah. Is that the worry, Zach? I'm not following.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm thinking if you're huge announce this is going to be the biggest studio in the world, quadruple A, we're going to invent a new term for it, can't even get it together to put out one game, that does not fill me with confidence.
It's true.
Yeah, this is already a hard punt.
It's very strange, and what does Xbox not have the right person in charge of their like worldwide studios team? Like, where are the games? They own 30 teams, don't they?
Right.
What is going on?
I feel like we're gonna read about this in a future Jason Schreier book. Like this whole story. Like, I just feel like I can feel the pieces coming together, which, by the way, I am working my way through Press Reset. I don't know if I told you that.
Yeah.
Man.
You're not wrong. That is a fascinating book. Just a good... Well, I'm listening to it, but it's a good read.
It's
Anyway, interesting story with the Initiative and Perfect Dark. Zach, anything on here get you excited?
I don't know about excited. I mean, it's nice to see The Last of Us 2 is coming along. Or, I'm sorry, The Last of Us TV show is coming along. I am weirdly optimistic about this show. I think it's weird that it's like the most expensive show HBO's ever made, because you look at The Last of Us and you could go film a fan film of that in the woods. So I don't really think you need 15 million an episode or whatever. But I mean,
is it star power?
I think it is. I think it's so that way in the marketing, right? Like, oh man, they're spending more money on this than Disney spent on The Mandalorian. Boy, they must really believe in it. I gotta check out what's going on. I think it is a measuring contest between streaming services.
So instead of putting money into like legit marketing, they're putting it into the show to be able to say they spent it, and that's their marketing?
That's my feeling, yes.
Huh.
Well, first off, I don't think it's star power. I mean, Pedro Pascal is awesome. But I'm almost wondering if they're trying to do this practical effect, which would cost a fortune.
I hope so.
I don't get me wrong, I would love it, because you're gonna have to build some pretty massive sets to kind of get the whole like scope. And I just you know me, I love practical effect TV shows and movies. I'm so sick and tired of CGI everything.
Well, yeah. It's funny that CGI is the cheaper way now.
Yeah, I know.
When like back in the day, that was more expensive.
Right, it's just like how 2D animation costs more than 3D animation now.
Right. I don't know. Did you guys see the screenshot on the Twitter from Naughty Dog?
Yeah, that sure was some cosplay.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like, right? It just looks like somebody cosplayed a scene. They do look. I mean, we're not seeing their faces; we're seeing them from behind. But if you had told me that was a screenshot from the game, I probably would have believed you. It weirdly almost had like a filter on it that made it look more like a video game than real life. Or am I imagining that?
Wouldn't that be awesome? That's what they're actually making a 3D show. It's just mocapped.
Because then it would be practical effects like CB1s.
I mean, it'd be nice if it's practical, but I feel like it would almost be. I feel like it would almost be easier to make the clickers practical effect, because you just put like a little headpiece on, right?
Head,
because that's just a person, right?
But you have to pay extras. That's a lot of makeup work.
I mean, you only have it on for one day, right? I mean, look at what was the Pirates movie where they had his dad that had like all the barnacle stuff on his face.
Yeah, Will Turner's dad. That was 2 and 3.
Yeah. But that's like all day makeup. You know what I mean? You gotta that's like half a day just to get it on, and then you gotta act, and then it's not like you just pop it on like a baseball cap.
Not to mention, depending on how many clickers you have to make, that could also be a lot of prosthetics.
Right. I wonder how much they're going to focus on the clickers, or if it's going to be more of like because I mean that was like the gameplay parts of the game, right? Was when you were fighting clickers, and with it being a television show, I would have to imagine that it's going to be more focused on the story-driven aspect of it.
Yeah,
but it's HBO, so they're going to have fighting.
You're going to have something driving it forward.
Yeah. But I mean, look at I haven't watched Walking Dead for several seasons, but after a while, it just became less about the zombies and more about the interactions between people.
I mean, that's the whole premise of all zombie fiction. People are the real monsters.
Yeah, especially when they do nasty things with Steam and try to get refunds at less than 2 hours, right?
Yeah, that's despicable.
I wanted to talk about. I mean, we could mention the October playlist or PlayStation Plus. Let's see, Hell Let Loose, which is a game I'm not familiar with. Mortal Kombat X and PGA Tour 2K21 for October. Yeah, I haven't played Mortal Kombat X, so I could fire that up and play a couple rounds with you, Zach.
That's what the combat kids are in that one.
The combat kids.
Yeah, it's all the kids of the main cast, like Johnny Cage and Sonya have a daughter and stuff like that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty
I know
fun.
nothing about the lore. I just like watching the...
Hell Let Loose is a World War II multiplayer shooter.
Oh, I'm out.
And I think it is free at, I think that's the day it comes out as well.
Yeah, I believe it's like up to 100 players in one lobby.
Oh, is that the hook?
Yeah.
So it's like Battle Royale, but one side versus another side instead of Battle Royale?
Yeah.
Just that many people? Interesting. I got to mention Blossom Tales 2. If you guys remember, I reviewed the original Blossom Tales on Switch back when that released, and I loved it. It's a Zelda clone. There's no bones about it. It's sprite Zelda game, and I loved the first one. And this second one looks like they're just going with more of that, and I am all for it. All for Blossom Tales 2. So I will be playing that one for sure when it comes out in 2022. Did either of you watch the trailer for Wildcat Gun Machine?
I did.
You were
it was fine.
It just cracked me up, like the the over dramatic voiceover at the beginning, making it sound. I don't know. It just made me smile. Who added Lil Gator? I don't think that was
Little Gator. I threw on the format. It's just a very relaxing looking game. To me, it looks like you just play as a little cute alligator guy.
And what do you do?
It looks like a 3D platformer-ish, adventure-y. It just looked very wholesome.
Oh, okay.
A little, the world needs some more wholesome.
I agree. And speaking of 3D platformers, I'm still shocked that you haven't picked up that new one on PlayStation. Is it
Kenna?
Kenna.
Yes.
Because that just screams Zach Parkerson.
No, I wanted it desperately. However, this game I must play for review is holding me back.
Ah.
Yes,
okay.
I have been looking forward to Kenna for a very long time. It is eating me from the inside out.
You have sad Zack.
It is.
It looks great. It really does look great.
Yes, it looks right up my gosh darn alley.
It does. How do you guys feel about no ray tracing on console for Far Cry 6? Because I know Zach probably doesn't care because he's not a graphics guy, really. And
yeah, I don't think.
I just saw you.
You couldn't pay me to care about this piece of information.
Yeah.
I don't know, honestly, if I've ever seen ray tracing, or if I have, I didn't know I was looking at ray tracing. But I'm also the guy that doesn't see, 60 frames per second. I don't really see that till it really dips like below 20 or something like that. So
talking about making a game prettier that I don't care if it's pretty or not.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way with Far Cry. I don't really care how pretty it is. I just want to go, clear some compounds. That's all I want to do.
Ray tracing seems like one of those features where you don't even notice it unless you're looking for it or it's pointed out to you, but it gives fanboys ammunition for whatever console they're backing.
Oh, is that what it is?
Look
it's
at
just a fanboy thing.
Yeah, I just can't imagine that sitting here playing with a buddy and be like, dude, look at this ray tracing. Isn't it amazing? I'm like, I don't care, man. I don't care. I play Nintendo games for fun.
I saw a tweet by Brian Altano this week that he said ray tracing and chip shortage sounds like the names of two buddy cops from a 70s TV show or something like that. I thought that was really funny. Ray tracing and chip shortage. Anyway, I guess I just wanted to really tell that story because I'm very excited for Far Cry 6. And I can't wait to play that game. And man, you got to play Far Cry 5, Zach.
All right, that's the point. Yeah, I only got 1,400 games coming out every week.
So it's okay. I know Scott got severely disheartened when I sent him the list of everything that's coming out next month.
Oh, he did. He texted me like it's just getting worse. It's like September and October are like the worst months. They're worse than November.
September wasn't even that bad, man. November is going to be a nightmare.
Like how are these companies making money? Because people can't buy all of them, right? Like it's got to be spread out somewhere.
You would think, yes, but maybe it's probably smarter if I just wait for Kenna to release physically in November. Maybe that's what I'll do.
Maybe
dodge some bullets.
Yeah,
no, because you should get it digitally. Definitely should get it digitally. Moving on.
Oh yeah.
We are an independently funded podcast. I want to remind everybody that means we pay for all of our podcast hosting services. website, everything all on our own, which is why we have a Patreon page where we ask fans to contribute monthly to help offset those costs of production, as well as give back to the community. If you'd like to help out, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. And we have some bonus episodes as well for everybody. So if you'd like to get in on some of that action, we offer one bonus episode at the $3 a month level, and we offer 2 episodes at the $5 a month level. And we will have new episodes out this week. We're actually recording some today and some tomorrow, so that we can make sure we can get our the one we owe you guys for for August, and then the 2 for September. CB, what can they listen to?
Well, most recently we have our 12 minutes spoiler cast of that absolutely riveting game. So I know how much Zack loves it.
It's trash.
He says it every week.
But as far as upcoming episodes, we have Scott's first foray into Pokemon.
Yes.
Which I cannot wait to talk to you about that.
Pokemon Fire Red.
Yeah. We have a Retro Outsider episode on Indiana Jones games.
Yes, Sean Coates is going to be joining us, and I was over at CB's on Friday?
One of those days.
Friday? Went over and sat down and played a bunch of Indiana Jones games. One of them was a whole lot better than the rest, and I can't wait to talk about that because holy cow, that game was great, Zach.
Was it Indiana Jones or the Staff of Moses?
It was not.
Staff of Kings?
Moses.
No, Staff of Kings, right.
No, it was
Staff
not.
of Moses. I was like, what?
I don't know. It sounds cooler.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
You'll have to listen to the episode to find out.
Yeah. And then
I'll get right on that.
We also have a little commentary, I guess you could say, on the supposed fraud that's going on in the video game collectors market. So
I am really intrigued to hear that because I've got some thoughts and I've got some questions. I'm looking forward to. We're going to record that tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah.
But anyway, if any of those episodes sound intriguing to you, and or maybe you just like to help us out to help fund the Gaming Outsider, head over to patreon.com/thegocast. But let's jump into the newer games in a section we call What We're Playing. Zach, I swear you're just trying to make the list longer every week.
I really don't. I mean, there's a handful of ports, but I don't know what's going on with the video game market. It seems unsustainable.
Is this like catch up from 2020 when everyone was
not
releasing anything?
It's got to be COVID stuff, right? Like everything's finally catching up. Because March 2022 is also looking like a bloodbath. Like like you said, Scott, there's just not enough money to go around.
Yeah. I mean, on the bright side, a lot more people are back at home and not working, so they have time to play games.
I guess so. We'll start with you can play as a sugar glider, flying squirrel, I think, right? Isn't that what a sugar glider is? It's definitely a flying animal,
rodent.
Flying a rodent of a sort. It plays one of those in Away, the survival series, coming to PS5, PS4, and PC September 28th. Chernobylite, survival game, coming to PS4 and Xbox One September 28th. Ghost Runner, which is that ninja first-person shooter platformer. It's going to PS5, Xbox Series console, September 28th. That's already on the last-gen stuff. A famous detective comes to consoles with Agatha Christie Hercule Poirot. The first cases coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, September 28th. Something tells me that was originally timed to release around the Death of the Nile movie until that got pushed back indefinitely.
Probably.
In Sound Mind is a first-person horror puzzler coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC September 28th. A Gaming Outsider favorite, Lemnis Gate, coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC September 28th. I think that's a Game Pass release.
It is.
Yeah, that's huge. Good for them. Neo, The World Ends With You gets its PC port on September 28th. New World, which is Amazon Game Studios, finally releasing a big title coming to PC September 28th. Outer Wilds gets a major expansion pack, Game of the Year winner from last year, Echoes of the Eye, that's going to PS4, Xbox One, and PC, September 28th. Dandy Ace is a neon fueled little roguelike, very Hades stylings, I would say. That's coming to Xbox One and Switch, September 28th. Steel Assault is a 2D platformer with a hook mechanic, of course, because that's what we do now. coming to Switch and PC September 28th. Insurgency Sandstorm, a modern war FPS, coming to PS4 and Xbox One September 29th. Centipede gets Recharge with Centipede Recharged on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC September 29th. Doctor Who: The Edge of Reality comes to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC September 30th. Mary Skelter Finale, that is the supposed final entry in the Mary Skelter JRPG dungeon crawling series, going to PS4 and Switch September 30th. Alpha Link, a kind of a sleek looking Xbox One platformer, coming September 30th.
We're about halfway through this list, by the way.
Melty Blood, Type Lumina, a brand new 2D fighting game, coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC September 30th. The Eternal Cylinder coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC September 30th. Death's Gambit gets a huge expansion and re-release with Death's Gambit Afterlife, coming to PC and Switch September 30th. Eon Drive coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC September 30th. Astria Ascending is a gear-gated 2D game with pretty beautiful stylings, coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC September 30th. Also coming to Switch is the Darksiders 3 port on September 30th. Zhuan Yuan Sword 7, a very cool-looking Chinese game, coming to PS4 and Xbox One September 30th. eFootball 2022, which is this is the free-to-play huge competitor below to FIFA, coming out of Konami and onto PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC September 30th. The mobile versions, I think, are to follow. As a Vine Saga coming to Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC September 30th. Ooh, finally, the end of the list is in sight. Hot Wheels Unleashed is a new racing game, based on the popular toy franchise, coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC September 30th. Imposter Factory is a new game from the To the Moon people, which is a game that seemed wholly designed to make you cry. That's going to PC September 30th. Rogue Lords is a horror-themed survival RPG. It looked very turn-based. You can play as characters like Bloody Mary. It looks kind of fun. Coming to PC September 30th. The Last Friend is a you're hanging out with dogs. Lots of dogs. If you like dogs, you should look up The Last Friend. Coming to Switch and PC September 30th.
I thought that was out already.
The Switch and PC version's coming out now.
Is that what it is? Because we interviewed that developer. They're a Brazilian developer.
Okay.
We met him at E3 when we went the last time we went, Zach. I could have swore that game because that was 3 years ago when we saw it.
Well, I mean, yeah, the fact that only Switch was listed might be an indicator that was already on PS4 and Xbox.
There you go, maybe.
FIFA 22 coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC October 1st. And then Phoenix Point Behemoth Edition, which is a darn Neil wholesale ripoff of XCOM, coming to PS4 and Xbox One October 1st. That's a lot of games.
It is a lot of games.
Yeah.
I think we can just assume that we're all going to play Lemnis Gate, right?
Yes.
That's going to happen.
Yeah,
I almost want to call an impromptu community game night, right here and now for Friday, to play Lemnis Gate, because we haven't had one of those in a while. This is on Game Pass.
I would love to tear into it tomorrow, if you guys have the time.
Tomorrow is going to be rough.
As of this recording. Anyway, I will be checking out Lemnis Gate aplenty. I do Zhuan Yuan Sword 7 has caught my eye ever since it was announced. I am surprised. I'm surprised that game's getting a physical version. It's kind of cool. It looks
really want to play Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Yeah.
I want to play it, but I don't want to pay money for it. Is that kind of rude to say?
I know. I mean, it's a $40 game, isn't it? Isn't it a budget title?
If this game was on Game Pass, I would definitely be downloading it right now.
Right. I don't know. I think Sean is going to review it for us, because he actually asked several months ago, hey, I want to play this game for review.
Sean Coates?
Sean Coates, yeah.
Okay.
So he's going to write a review for us on that one, and I have a feeling CB and I will be playing that one too.
Yeah, but I'm also going to be playing In Sound Mind.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. That looks fun.
Which one, I'm sorry?
In Sound Mind.
Oh, yeah. That trailer kind of made me think of you. So that works out.
Yeah, it's definitely a me kind of game.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's disturbing.
It's there was some weird first-person horror game that you were really on, like The Last Town or Town of Light or something like that?
Oh, the Town of Light. That game was
Dark.
Ooh, yeah, it's a dark story.
But I mean that was like one of the first games that when I met you in person that you talked about. So it's forever colored my taste. Like, oh, this guy must like first-person horror stuff.
Yeah, I
what
really
do you know?
do.
He does.
Yeah, shocking. Yeah, there's I don't know if I have the energy to talk about anything else. So why don't you guys talk about some nonsense?
Some nonsense. I want to talk about some Diablo 2 Resurrected. I was actually at CB's, like I said, on Friday, so I got to watch him play this a little bit. I've never played Diablo 2 CB, and I tried to get some information from you while you were playing it, and you just like spouted off a bunch of nonsense that made no sense to me as a guy that's only played Diablo 3. What are your early impressions of the remake as a guy who played?
Loving it.
Okay.
I'm so happy because I love Diablo 2.
Mm-hmm.
It plays pretty similar to the old PC version that I played. It's just shiny and pretty. And
so, do they do the Diablo 3 deal where you're playing it? You know, you're not pointing and clicking, obviously, but do you have the same control scheme where you can move around and then map everything to one of the buttons for attacks?
Yeah. Yep. You can map everything around. The inventory system to me seems a little bit simpler than Diablo 3, thank God.
Yeah, I noticed that too. But everybody says that Diablo 2 is a lot harder than Diablo 3, but it just looked much simpler.
Your first run will... For experienced players, yes, it's going to be easy earlier on, but the game ramps up real quick.
Okay.
I'm just kind of going through because you can go all the way to level 99, just like other Diablo games. But I'm probably going to jump straight from normal to hell mode.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I love playing. I've already got. I went back. I was at my mom's house last week, and I found my original Necromancer build from when I played on PC.
Oh,
so
really?
I've already started rebuilding my character, and it's still just as busted. So I'm already just like, oh, look, nothing stands in my way. But I'm going to go
like cheating. You're just using the exact same build from when you were a kid, which was broken then, and they didn't fix it.
Not that not that I've noticed yet, but I dig this game, man. The isometric view, just running around, clearing out like hordes of enemies,
collecting
loot. I just got to the point where you run into Deckard Cain, which is like one of the most iconic voices in video games to me.
Mm-hmm.
The whole like stay a while and listen.
That's his line, man.
It's just I love it. It's such a nostalgia trip for me. But once I play through as the Necromancer, I want to try other classes because the PC that I had when I played Diablo 2 originally when I was younger broke. So I never got to play like the other ones.
You only played as the Necromancer class?
I only played as the Necromancer class when I was younger, and then like I moved on to other games like Half-Life 2 and things like that.
Gotcha.
But so far, like I'm digging it. Just it's so clean. I remember even the PC I had back then kind of was a little choppy when you got a bunch of mobs on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to go through this game to see if the cow level is still there.
Oh, it's got to be, right?
If it's not there, I'm going to be pissed.
It needs to be there so you can grief your new friend.
You're not wrong.
How does that work? I don't...
Well, you tell them, oh, hey, man, like, oh, you should play Diablo 2 with me. They pick it up. You go, I got the great spot for you to get some loot and level up real quick. You take them to the cow world, but then you just portal yourself out so they're stuck there. And then you just let them get murdered.
By a bunch of giant evil cows.
Right, by a bunch of cows standing upright with battle axes. It's awesome. It happened to me. And you know what? It endeared me to the game. My cousin murdered me. It felt great.
It is.
Now, this was back. Where did you play the original? Did you play it on PC or did you play it on? I thought it was on PlayStation.
I only remember it being on PC, man.
The first Diablo was on PlayStation.
Oh,
Yeah.
was that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, Diablo 2 was PC joint.
Gotcha.
Yep,
Now,
and
CB,
then-
I've been hearing a lot of complaints from people saying that they've had trouble getting into online matches with people.
Battle.net.
Yeah. Is it
Mm.
Battle.net?
It's Blizzard. It's Battle.net.
Okay.
Well, I know, but
And-
didn't they change it to BlizzardNet or something like that, or Blizzard Online?
Oh, whatever it is.
It
It's
would have
still
been
the
a cool
same
move.
problem.
It would have been a cool move if for this re-release they referred to it as Battle.net within the game. That would have been the ultimate nostalgia play.
It really would have. My guess is there's a lot of people trying to. Blizzard has always had this problem. Like first day launches of games, just horrendous multiplayer server issues.
Remember Diablo 3 was just unplayable for its first 2 weeks?
Yeah,
Mhm.
just
But it was
like
worth the wait.
every World of Warcraft expansion. Just look, servers are having trouble today.
It's weird. It's weird that Blizzard, who is unbelievably popular, hasn't read the room yet. That maybe they need more servers when they launch a game.
Yeah,
But as massive as they are, you'd think they would get that. Well, here's the thing, though. Like, at launch is when they need it, and then it kind of wanes.
yeah. Then rededicate some of your servers back
Yeah.
to other games.
They got the
Right.
money. I don't understand.
Yeah, it's true.
Just have like a room full of servers. Like, ooh, it's overflow. Because I'm
So-
sure they could use it for something.
With me not having touched the game yet, can you do the thing that you do like in Diablo 3 or like in Borderlands games where I can jump in with you and you can level me up really quick? Or
Yeah,
quicker?
That's been a Diablo staple since like the beginning.
Okay.
That's how you do your classes, right? Is you would start as an assassin and go to your friend's game just so he could level you up to 80 real quick, and then
Yep.
you'd be good to go.
Though that was the best
Alright.
part about the Necro is you just have your buddies stand next to you and just be like, I will kill everything in the room.
Necromancer really
So-
was the best class by a landslide.
Oh, bar none. Like, just let me send this horde of skeletons and golems out, and then I'm just going to launch bone spears.
Ugh. See, talking about it gets me nostalgic for Diablo 2, but then I feel like I would play it for 2 hours and be like, yep, it is Diablo 2, and then I would move on.
It is the spitting image of Diablo 2, just with a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
So the gameplay is exactly the same. It just looks prettier?
It's different for me because I'm playing it with a controller rather than
Mhm.
mouse and keyboard.
So that's
Instead of
all.
having
No, I did play it with a mouse. I played Diablo 3 with the mouse and keyboard at first, and then I switched to Xbox.
and instead of having because I'm trying to remember the original Diablo 2. I believe it was like click, and like you would move where you are clicking.
hmm
Whereas this, it's just using the thumbstick, running around free.
And then attacking with whichever attack button you choose
Yep.
to use.
Yeah.
Wait, does that work well for the Necromancer then? Because the Necromancer, you're sending out your hordes, right?
You can stand back. You send out your horde. Well, the horde auto targets.
Oh,
just whatever
okay.
is the closest thing to you,
Yeah,
which
I guess that
great.
makes sense because I feel like you did have to click the attack button to make your skeletons attack in the original.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just the fact that they auto target, but these things run around like they're on crack, man. Like
Yeah, I was watching, and he was just standing there, like talking to me, and they're just running around in these random patterns in a very jerky motion.
I was gonna
looking-
ask about the motion because I remember them having like 4 frames of animation. Do they
it's
look?
about the same.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I was worried that it would almost look too clean now.
Oh, they run around like insanely fast, but it's funny because when you like level up the skeleton mastery so they hit harder. So like just the generic trash mobs, they run over and like 1 or 2 hit them, and then they like sprint across the screen to the next target, and it's just you just watch them bounce around. It's hilarious.
Man, now I kind of want to. I don't have the time, but I kind of want to play it now.
I you know what? I will screen cap some for you and I will send it to you.
That's probably what I need. That's probably all I need.
So is there
'Cause
anything different other than just how it looks?
just different control scheme, how it looks? I mean, for me, it still plays the same. It feels the same. It's just I'm glad because a lot of people play Diablo 3, and now these people are getting a chance to play Diablo 2.
So what advice do you have for someone like me that's only played Diablo 3? And I played Diablo 3 a ton.
Start with the Necromancer. And
That's
go
your only
town,
advice,
man.
How's that going to work? Like if I jump in with you, don't you want to have like different classes spread out, or will we just double dominate?
You have multiple Necromancers. You are unstoppable.
The Assassin is a fun melee class, and I bet it's really good on a gamepad.
Yeah, I could probably say the same.
So if you
or the Barbarian with Whirlwind, just sit there and spin through everything.
I think I did that with Diablo 3. There was a Whirlwind Barbarian move.
Yeah,
but it's been a while. Diablo 2 Resurrected. CB highly recommends. He's loving that game for sure.
Yeah.
So you've had a slightly less demonic experience, though, Scott, with Hoa on the Nintendo Switch, which is an incredibly peaceful-looking platformer. Nary a skeleton in sight, I would say.
No, not a skeleton in sight. In fact, you can't die in this game. There's no death. There are enemies that you have to avoid, but they don't kill you. They just knock you back.
Right, so it's a repeat of the Prince of Persia 2008 controversy.
Well, there's no rewind feature or whatever.
That was you couldn't. That was a huge talking point around that game, was that you couldn't die.
Oh, okay. But I saw this game advertised as one of the other critics that reviewed it called it like a warm bubble bath for the soul or something. Is that how it was described? And I said, I need to play this game just to see what that's like, because I have been in dire need of, I don't know, what's the word? A bit of respite? Is it the right word?
Sure, a little rest and resuscitation. I could have helped you out with a bubble bath, buddy.
Could you? So, yeah. Well, I don't have a tub right now. My bathroom is non-existent. So I can't even... I have to go to the gym to shower, so I'm not going to get... It's a struggle to take a shower, much less get a bubble bath. But I played this game, and yes, it is a 2D platformer where you play as a little fairy creature that looks like a magician's hat. This is what I'll say, a pointy witch's hat with little tiny legs. And it is one of the most simplistic, mechanically speaking, games I've played in terms of it's almost laughably easy. But I don't think that's a detriment for me. I enjoyed sitting down with this game and just experiencing it and going through. I don't even know how to describe just how good this game made me feel, because I've been playing video games for so long, and I get stressed out playing games where am I going to get through this, or I'm going to have to replay this? It was so nice to just sit here and experience a decent story. That's not a high depth story at all. And just feeling this serene nature and watching this world unfold in front of my eyes. It's gorgeous. I would also recommend, I know you're not, I'm not going to say that again. I will say play this game with headphones, because the music is half the experience in this. It is so ambient. It is so relaxing to listen to and watch what's going on the screen. The animations are very Studio Ghibli inspired. There's some weird things going on every once in a while, but it is gorgeous and relaxing. I needed this game so much, guys. I really did. It's good.
It was the right game at the right time for you.
Yeah, remember I felt that way when I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but Space Hunter Charlie was like the perfect game at the perfect time. Like if I'd got it like 6 months prior, I probably would have dug that game nearly as much. I feel that way with this one. Like it just came at a time where I needed some rest and relaxation in a video game. I never felt like it was a slog to finish. Granted, it's only about 3 or 4 hours long, so it's not very long. It's not difficult until you get to the very final stage. And I don't want to ruin it or spoil it for anybody that does want to play it, but there's something that the game does in the very final stages that breaks the rules of platforming in general in a way that is so artistically masterfully done that I almost wanted to stand up and applaud when I finished it, because the credits rolled right after that level. It does get a little tricky and hairy just because you have to like warp your brain for it to work. But Hoa is worth a playthrough if you can get it and you got a good set of headphones. But the headphones are a must. Highly recommend playing this game. Just don't go into it expecting a heavy-duty platformer. I mean, I have a hard time believing that anybody that's ever held a controller would have any difficulty getting through anything. And I'm okay with that. I don't need every platformer to be Super Meat Boy.
Right. Well, I mean, sometimes that's just the game you need, right? I mean,
yeah. So Hoa was the game I need. If you like games but want to just sit back and enjoy the experience and chill, this is a great switch and chill game. Because that was a bad joke. Anyway,
that was terrible.
Yeah. So, Hoa, I highly recommend. Got one more game we want to talk about. I sat down with Sean Coates, who played Chernobylite on Xbox, and I would like you to hear his thoughts right now. I'm here with Mr. Sean Coates. How's it going, Sean?
Good as always to be here, man. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm excited to hear about this game you've been playing for us called Chernobylite. I'm intrigued by the history of Chernobyl, so a game surrounding that definitely sounds interesting. This game comes from developer The Farm 51 and was provided to us by Stride PR. So shout out to those guys for hooking us up. Tell me about this game, man, because the trailers are a little... I mean, I can tell that it's got like a spooky atmosphere and whatnot. It feels like a horror game, but I can't really wrap my head around what the gameplay is like. Can you tell me?
It's a survival horror FPS. Have you ever heard of... I actually never heard of the series until recently, but have you ever heard of the Stalker series?
I have heard of it, but I've not played it.
Neither have I, because it's a PC exclusive, but it's that. I'm told by a lot of other people that Chernobylite is basically Stalker.
Is it the same developer?
No, I don't think... no, it just happens to be another survival horror game set in the Chernobyl exclusion zone.
Okay, so for those of us that haven't played Stalker, what's the gameplay like?
Think Last of Us, but with an extra added crafting element and, scarce resources.
Okay.
And also, you're dealing with human enemies along with supernatural interdimensional enemies.
Okay, but this is first person, right? Because
it's first person. Yeah, it's first person, sorry.
I feel like I haven't played a survival horror game in first person except for like Outlast maybe, or it was Outlast in first person. I can't remember. Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village, first person. So yeah. So what are your impressions of it? Is it all you hoped and dreamed it would be?
The game itself is great. I love the atmosphere. I love the tone, and I too was fascinated by the history of the Chernobyl disaster itself. Mm-hmm. I think I've rewatched that HBO miniseries dozens of times. It's just that good. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I've just been having technical problem upon technical problem with this game.
Uh-oh.
It was originally slated to come out earlier in September. I think it was the 7th or 8th or something. And it got delayed to today as we record this, actually, because of unforeseen console issues, like optimization issues. And for the whole time I've been playing this, I've basically been experiencing that.
Oh, no, I know that when you first installed it, you couldn't even get to run. You had to uninstall it and reinstall it, right?
And I've had to do that 3 more times since then.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and not to mention, and then when it does run, it can sometimes get into single-digit frame rates, especially if I get into any sort of firefight.
Okay.
So I had to kind of take it slow, and the game takes it slow anyways. It's more survival, stealth, horror, hunter-gathering than it is just a downright, shoot fest, yeah. And that's what's kind of unique about it, at least to me. I usually prefer the shoot-'em-up, bang-bangs kind of games myself. But like I said, other than the technical issues, I love the story. I love the history behind the real event, and the ideas it puts into place is fantastic. And the plot can be a little convoluted, and considering I haven't really made too much progress because of the technical issues, I'm still digging the story and where it can go.
How much of the story is based on reality? I know you said it's convoluted, but is there a lot of actual history, or is it just all straight fiction?
So far there's a prologue, and then after the prologue is done, the real game starts. In the prologue, you actually go right directly into the Chernobyl nuclear plant, even down to the control room where the accident occurred.
Oh wow! How long after the explosion is this?
Present day.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then the Chernobylite substance itself is like a crystallized substance that's just been brewing and brewing all throughout the years within the destroyed reactor. And that's where the supernatural, interdimensional kind of weirdness comes from.
I like the premise. It's just a perfect place for a setting for a video game, really.
Yeah, and the fact that it's, the fact that it's based on a real horrific event just adds to the creepiness even more.
Mm-hmm. I'm intrigued by it. And how far into the game are you?
I actually just now got to, I'm not going to describe the story in detail. That would be spoiler-tastic, unfortunately. But I think I've hit the 1/3 mark at least.
Okay. And I know you're hopefully gonna finish it, technical issues aside, but
yeah, hopefully now that it's out today, I actually managed to get it working, and so far I'm not experiencing any slowdown so far. So
okay.
hopefully,
so it sounds
I think
like maybe a patch
has been coming out. Yeah, because
right.
Launch day is today as of this recording.
Well, technical issues aside, I'm assuming this is a game you're going to recommend.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And hopefully by the time I get the written review out, this will be a lot different than what I'm saying now.
Sounds good. Well, Sean, thank you so much for checking out that game. I do appreciate it. I'm a little jealous that you got to play it because I was definitely intrigued by that trailer, but it sounds like one I may need to check out.
Yeah, the first time I saw the trailer, I texted you and said, "This is mine, please, mine." So,
I remember that.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Well, thanks for stopping by, and we'll check with you next time, all right?
Of course. Cheers, man.
Catch you later.
Thanks.
Thanks again, Sean. Appreciate it. Want to remind everybody about our social media outlets before we move on. First off, facebook.com/groups/thegocast. We've got an awesome community over there and a new member this week by the name of Angela Kilpatrick. Welcome to the community. Hope you're enjoying it. We do our best to keep that updated with news, and all of our episodes are on there as well. Also, our Discord server is alive and popping. If you'd like to join some good, fun conversations, most of it focused around video games, head over to our the show notes for this page. There is a link that will get you into there. Also, as a reminder, do us a favor. If you like the show, give us a review on whatever platform you choose, whether it be Apple Podcasts or Google Play Music. We really could use the exposure. Also, lastly, our website is thegamingoutsider.com, where we house all of our episodes and all of our written content, including 4 new reviews that dropped this week. Alyssa reviewed Life is Strange: True Colors. You heard her talk about that game last week, and she really made me want to play that game. Jacob reviewed a game called Vesper. Alyssa, again, knocking reviews out of the park, reviewed Kataria Fables. And Zach's review of Lake, which is another game that seems like a game that I need right now.
Yes,
Zach.
yeah. It probably did for me what Hoa did for you.
Probably. And I kind of want to just go play it just to have that experience of just no stress.
Meditative is the word I would use for that game.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Well, before we move on to our From the Outside In topic, I want to talk to you guys about this product that we've been trying out from a company called Manscaped. They have a new product. If you're not familiar with it,
put earmuffs on your kids.
Put earmuffs on your kids. Manscaped sells products to men and women for, shall we say, hair removal in places that is not on your face and not on your legs. So, I don't really know your guys' grooming habits, but this is something that I've been doing for years, and we got some products. I have? You don't believe me?
No, I do. No, I agree. No, you should. If you want your partner to be cleanly, you should have to be cleanly too. That's the deal.
I agree. So, Manscaped actually has a brand new product that is called the Lawnmower 4.0, which is a little electric trimmer, if you will. And I got a chance to try that out this morning, actually. And I got to tell you, I am in love with this thing. CB, you actually tried it before all of us, not the same one, to be clear. You have your own, but...
You guys didn't do it together? You guys didn't hang out?
No.
Check each other. Well, you want to get those blind spots, so you kind of need one.
Wow.
CB, share your experience with this Lawnmower 4.0.
Yeah, so moving up into the world of using an electric trimmer has been worlds different, because before, just using a standard shaver, not comfortable.
No, it's really not. And nicks
happen
that you get, happen in down there, it's a little bit worse. So
Yes, definitely protecting the family jewels with this product.
yes,
So
surprisingly easy to use. It's got a little on-off switch that you can actually have it like in a travel mode, so that if you're carrying it in a case or something, it won't just randomly turn on and then you get stopped by TSA.
That's nice. I've been using a electric trimmer for many years, in fact, but Manscaped really takes it up a notch. You know,
How so? Because I haven't been using an electric trimmer for that.
it's just honestly like the size and the way like your hand holds it just lets you gets into the nooks and crannies a little bit better. I've noticed. Oh man, I feel like such a sellout. Like, this is honest. It's just I've had less like nicks. Less pulls of the hair. It's just kind of a cleaner cut than I'm used to.
I agree. I haven't had any pulls at all because I have used an electric trimmer before, but I stopped because it kept yanking them out instead.
Yes.
And that is some of the most painful stuff. And I kept like expecting that, but using this thing on my body,
right? Yeah,
no issues.
I was proactively flinching, and there was never a need,
and nothing happened. So, highly recommend this product. They've also got Manscaped has boxers, which I wore the boxers today, and they are the most comfortable pair of underwear I think I've ever worn. They're fantastic. They've also got like deodorant cream. I don't know if you guys deodorize. I have been for forever, and this was a game changer in terms of making me feel fresh and smelling good and but not being
Did your
sticky.
partner feel the same, or have we not gotten there yet? This is a genuine question.
No, there's been no experience with a partner. But,
okay,
tune in next week.
Okay, that's what I'm dying for.
I will also say the nose hair trimmers, wonderful, because I did have an older pair of electric trimmers for that, and even that is worlds better than the previous product I've owned.
Oh, I agree. I actually had an old nose trimmer that I've been using for a while. It was so bad that you're going to laugh, I started waxing. I've been waxing my nose and my ears, and now that I've got this quality nose hair trimmer, I've been using that on my nose and ears instead, and it's so much easier than busting out the wax and getting drippy and yanking it out of your nose. It just nose hair trimmer is great.
You guys' lack of discussion on the toner distresses me because it's a lot of fun.
I was going to get there, but
okay,
go ahead.
So, for that extra sheen, there is a toner that is included in their performance package.
Yes, if you've ever heard old Dave Chappelle bit about slapping some bits on a man's shoulder and how perfectly shiny they are, that's what I feel like right now. I don't know that's a very specific comedy call out, but they do. Yes, if you look down there, it's a bit of a hallelujah moment with how shiny those bad boys get. A little bit like a holy hand grenade going off, if you're familiar with worms.
Love the reference. That's awesome. But in all seriousness, like Zach said, don't mean to sound like a sellout at all. This product, I genuinely am enjoying this thing. And if you guys would like to try it out, I've got some good news for you because we have a promo code exclusive from the Gaming Outsider. If you'd like to give Manscaped or any of its products a shot, we have a code that will give you 20% off and free worldwide shipping. All you have to do is go to manscaped.com and use the promo code TheGoCast. Again, 20% off and free worldwide shipping. Manscaped, your balls will thank you. A couple weeks ago, we talked about Sony's PlayStation Experience event, and since we had such a good time taking a deep dive with that, we decided to do the same thing for this week's Nintendo Direct, especially since there was quite a bit of news and some fun surprises. So we're going to kick things off with some listener feedback, because we wanted to hear what you guys thought about this Direct, and then we'll kind of break down everything that we saw and discuss what we liked, what we didn't like, and what we wished had been shown instead. So first off, Facebook comment from Christy Flores, our very own Christy Flores. She says, extremely excited to get a chance to play N64 on the Switch. I'm mostly excited to get the chance to play some of the games I didn't get to play as a kid in the handheld mode. I could not agree more. The idea that I get to play some of these old school N64 games on the Switch has me very, very excited. You know, I will say though, at the same time, I bought the Mario 3D collection and I played it for about 45 minutes. and never went back. So I feel like a little bit of a hypocrite.
Well, I would say, since it's included in your subscription anyway, what a deal. But we'll get there, because that's not necessarily the case. I think I didn't really compute the fact that I can now play Majora's Mask on the bus, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, because you got quite a commute, so you can kind of just go help people's lives and feel happy by the time you get to work.
Yeah, and then I can meet real people in real life and be crushed that I ever thought about helping any of them.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
CB, why don't you take the next comment?
Sean Coates. I know it's been over 20 years now, but the 90s kid in me still can't fully grasp the idea of playing Sega games on a Nintendo platform. Quick segue. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. They just held up the Sega controller. Just like,
I think that's how they announced it.
yeah.
Sega Genesis can do what Nintendo don't. That would have been funny if they
Sega
that in there
does
somehow.
what Nintendo don't.
Oh man, that would have been funny.
But beyond that, I don't have a Switch. I can't get excited as most would be about games. So can we talk about the cast and the announcement of the Mario movie? Personally, I'm okay with it. The casting of Chris Pratt as Mario tells me they won't be going with a full-blown it's-a-me Mario approach. I'll bet somewhere in between Charles Martinet and Bob Hoskins or Lou Albano. Either way, I know it's a better experience than the 1993 train wreck. Hey, man.
Hey, you take
that movie alone.
You take that right back. You take that right back, Sean. You get on your way. That movie is fun.
I still love that movie.
That was great. I'm so glad that you're here. I like that movie a lot.
Didn't they have the Super Scope in that movie?
Oh, there's a lot of little hidden Nintendo
painted
references.
Yeah. I remember not liking that movie when I was a kid. I remember the Goombas where they just put them to sleep in the elevator.
The only thing I don't particularly like is the design of the Goombas, but otherwise I'm kind of all in on that movie, and what a fever dream idea it is.
It really is.
Could we get together and watch that movie together and then talk about it?
Yes.
Easily.
Well, we have
I have a copy of it,
drinks,
so
pizza, and Super Mario Brothers. Are you kidding me? I'm in.
All right,
Yes.
Zach, you come on up here. Take the weekend off.
Okay.
And we'll have a Super Mario Brothers.
We need to do that.
Like,
I'm in.
Do it old school, like you said, like the junk food and.
Oh, I will bust out the 80s style sleeping bags with the characters on them.
Let's do it.
We have to go buy those terrible like themed candies that they have for like Mario and stuff.
Oh, dude, we could review those while we do it too.
That'd be great.
Like Mario gummies or something, or what are you talking
Yeah,
about?
There's like Mario gummies, the chocolate.
There's like one that's like it's a question block, but you open it and you get a different kind of candy every time.
Like little sweet tarts type things.
Yeah, there's lots of options, Scott. Obviously, we'll have to bring you up to speed and get every kind.
Apparently, yeah. This episode brought to you by Five Below.
I will say though, I am a little miffed about that, like the fact that it's not Charles Martinet.
Well, he's in it. He's just not being Mario.
Yeah, but it's an animated movie. Like it should have just been him. Regardless,
I think the casting is rotten. But again, maybe we can talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll circle back on that one.
All right, we'll circle back. Zach, why don't you take the next comment on Discord?
Mark Zamansky said, I'm excited about it. Nintendo is always good for some fun. For me, the glaring issue is the dependence on ports, sequels, and DLC. Great stuff, all of it, but I would also love to see some fresh games. Finally, N64 without GoldenEye. I don't care how poorly the graphics hold up. It's a classic. I'm not confident you'll ever see GoldenEye in this thing.
Nope.
No.
That's just a licensing issue, though, more than...
I don't really feel like I totally agree on the overwhelming amounts of ports. But I don't know. That's just me.
Really?
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm so focused on the highlight of the show for me that I really don't care about, which is a brand new idea.
I already know what you're going with, so...
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, it's not difficult.
No, it's not.
Maybe I'm right, but he's right in that there are a lot of sequels, but I kind of don't care. They're exciting sequels. You know, Splatoon and Bayonetta, like they're only on their third iteration, and they're
Kirby,
concepts.
man.
Kirby looks. Kirby looks like that does look like a fever dream. That looks like it's brought to you from the writers of the '93 Mario Brothers movie. But yeah, like Splatoon is still to me such a fresh and interesting concept.
Yeah, and I feel like sequels are what we expect from Nintendo, right? Like,
right. Well,
When's the last new IP we got? It was like Wonderful 101, and that wasn't even Nintendo. That was Platinum, right?
ARMS,
yeah.
I guess Astral Chain.
Yeah, but that wasn't made by Nintendo, was it?
It was published by Nintendo.
Right.
They own the IP.
I think that's what Nintendo fans want is just more iterations of the stuff that they already know and love.
Well,
They
because
want more Zelda, Mario, Metroid.
they are the Disney of video games, right? You want that safe, comfortable, childlike feeling.
Yeah.
And yet somehow they also publish games like Bayonetta and No More Heroes.
Which is awesome.
What a weird company.
So hey, it's a step up.
Yeah.
Let's see, Kevin Honigford. The addition of Genesis Classics made me quite happy, but a little off-put at the same time. While I'm excited to play a few of my old favorites, there are quite a few that I wish were included but aren't. The fact that they specify that there are more to come from the N64 library, but did not say the same for the Genesis library makes me wonder if this is all we're going to get from that side. Genesis Classics were my favorite part of the Wii, and I'm hoping they bring more on board for this throughout time as well. Something's better than nothing, though, so I'm pleased at the end of the day. We'll see how pleased he is when we get the price for that next month. But
Kevin, as the fellow Genesis kid in the room, I think we'll see more. You know, there's no way you can't just have like a Phantasy Star. You have to have all of them.
Well, I mean, if you want to go back to Phantasy Star 1, you have to go back to the Master System.
Yes.
But you're not the only Genesis kid in the room, man.
Well, I thought you were a bigger SNES guy.
I never owned a SNES when I was a kid.
Well, I understand. Okay. I'm not trying to put my flag in the ground. I'm happy to have everybody be a Genesis kid. A Genesis kid, as it were.
Did you just say that with an English accent?
I did.
As it were.
As it were.
To be fair.
All right, CB, you're up.
Ferris. Solid, just solid. Quite the delivery while I sit here enjoying a Diablo 2 ActRaiser something awesome. I ponder and relish the news of the coming entertainment. Excitement such as the aforementioned ActRaiser remake. I'm currently enjoying Shadowrun Trilogy, Bayonetta 3, N64 games and Genesis games, the original KOTOR, Dying Light 1 and 2, even the Mario movie. Those are some names. Still waiting for my port of Xenoblade Chronicles X, but this was a great show. Dude, I'm all aboard the KOTOR train. But
why on the Switch? You play on your phone for $5.
Don't care. Portable.
Aspire's been doing these ports for a while, right? Bringing these games to Switch and PS4. So I think it's nice to get them.
Yeah. Plus, it'll be a physical copy.
And why would you want to play it? Why would you want to play it with phone controls? Yeah, surely there will be a limited run pressing, right? Because they've been doing those.
Oh yeah. And see, that's the thing is, I don't like playing mobile games. Like, I don't like playing games on my phone.
That's a big reason why I kind of peeled off it on iOS, because it just doesn't play well.
I will say though, Dying Light 2, that's a stretch, man. I don't think that game is going to be functional on a Switch at all.
If it's doing what they say it is on the other consoles, I agree with you 100%. That looks like a beefy game, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's no way that's going to fit.
Did I miss that? Dying Light 2? Are we certain of that? I thought it was like Dying Light and then a Dying Light expansion or something.
It's Dying Light 2 cloud version.
Cloud version. Oh, okay.
Oof.
You'll stream it.
That's going to be taxing on that Switch, which already
does all of your hard drive space on the Switch.
Your hard drive space, it doesn't exactly have the best connection. That's going to be taxing on that console.
Yeah, I think I'm going to stick to Xbox for that one.
But that worries me. Like, that almost seems like the kind of game that would just brick a Switch.
Well, Control somehow runs on that thing with the cloud version.
That's fair.
Yeah, but...
And that game barely ran on PlayStation.
Well, that's what our community thought. Let's go ahead and run down everything that they showed at this showcase, or Nintendo Direct, as it were. And starting off at the top, Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which is an expansion pack. It's coming out in summer of 2022. Doesn't do anything for me personally, but what about you guys?
Yeah, meh.
No, I'm thrilled for the Monster Hunting community.
There you go.
I tried playing the one Monster Hunter game that came out, and meh.
I played like an hour and I was done. I just not knocking the game. I just don't get the appeal. It just did not click for me.
I finished the playthrough, but when it just kind of loops on itself and just becomes grindy, I'm like, okay, I'm done here.
Yeah, I think that's what prevents me from playing them. Is it's just I know it will become a loot grind at some point, and I don't care.
Right. Mario Party Superstars coming October 29th. That's next month already. I love Mario Party. I don't know why it never gets old. With the right group of people, that game is always fun.
It's just that great party game formula, just like Jackbox.
Aren't they bringing back some of the old boards too from like the original Mario Party or something?
Yeah, I think this is supposed to be like a celebration of Mario Party, right?
Right. And then the whole reason that Zack watched this direct at all is the announcement of Voice of Cards coming to Switch on October 28th. There is a demo available now. Have you played the demo?
Right, so it's the Voice of Cards, the Isle Dragon Roars. Of course I played the demo.
Yeah.
This is the new game from Yoko Taro and Yosuke Saito, Keiichi Okabe. The team, the near team, as you would have it. Kimihiko Fujisaka, who was the concept artist of Drakengard, does all of the art for all of the cards. And it's, you know what, I'll tell you, like, the demo didn't, like, totally blow me away. So there you go. But it is, I feel like it's not what I thought it would be, because you look at the trailer and you assume card game and, like, this cool card presentation aesthetic, but it's way more of a traditional turn-based role-playing game than you would think. Right, like the cards aren't randomized. You equip, you like buy a new sword card and you just equip it to your character, just like you would a regular sword. So it's just like a presentation thing. But what is cool is the combat has like the whole game, I guess, has a whole D&D flavor to it, because everything is narrated by the game master, who's voiced by Todd Haberkorn, and he'll narrate you everything. You're like, you see a fisherman on the shore, you approach him. Speak quietly, like it's very D&D in that way, and the combat's fun. It's almost frustratingly easy in the demo, but I'm definitely excited to see more.
Now you told me, because you texted me and told me that you thought I would really dig this game.
Yeah,
and after I realized what game you were talking about, because it hasn't been in the forefront of my mind like it has been yours for the past.
I don't understand why it wouldn't be. I mean, it looks great.
You almost got salty with me, like how dare I not remember what this game was? But what about this do you think would be such a draw for me?
Well, I know you have a recent interest in D&D, and it's just got such a tabletop flavor to it. Like certain attacks, you will have to roll different numbered dice. Like, one will be a 6-sided die, another attack is a 10-sided die. It has that kind of element to it, and then just the way that when you pull up to a battle. And like the dungeons are represented by just cards being the map layout, basically, which is like it's a fun aesthetic. But when you get into a combat, the game brings up like a little like combat board for catching the dice for like knocking against the walls, and you have these gems you have to use, and you have to like pull them out of a chest. It's just like the presentation of it is so overwhelmingly Dungeons and Dragons to me that I think if you're a fan of those kind of tabletop role playing games, I think there's a lot to like here. I don't envy the marketing team. I could see why they did a short announcement to release, because I think you have to get it into people's hands to understand that it is not a randomized card deck kind of thing.
Gotcha. All right. Voice of Cards. CB, any interest from you, or?
I'll check. I will check out the demo.
I hate both of them.
All right.
I gotta get a new podcast.
I didn't say I wasn't interested. I just said it sounds cool.
The near outsider.
Right.
Oh my god. Disco Elysium coming to Switch on October 12th. I've already got that on PlayStation, I think, so I don't need to play on Switch, but I like that it's getting into the hands of more people.
I like that it's got a physical version coming next year.
Yeah. There's some expansion pass content for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity on October 28th, which I don't think I've played that game yet. I still don't think I've played it.
I mean,
it's brand new, wrapped on my shelf.
Yeah.
Aren't you a fake Zelda fan now anyway, because you couldn't beat Skyward Sword?
Oh, dude, that game is just not fun.
No,
sorry.
it's not. I'm sorry to say.
I could have beat it. I just decided to do something more fun with my time.
Yeah.
I was so severely disappointed with that game. Chocobo GP coming to Switch in 2022, which is a Chocobo racing game.
Yeah, it's a Chocobo racing sequel. What, like 15 years later?
Yeah.
As a PS1 racing game. I don't know. It looked kind of cute.
I'm okay.
I'm
good.
Yep.
I'm surprised it's a Switch exclusive.
Yeah, I honestly kind of am too.
Yeah, I could see that. The next part of the Direct cracks me up because they didn't announce a new fighter for Smash. They announced an announcement that one will be revealed on October 5th, which is just so weird. Why are you holding that back? Like, isn't this the time to...
I don't know, man. I'm beginning to feel like this is going to be a bait and switch. They're like, oh, our final fighter is the fact that we're unlocking 15 more fighters. Ha ha ha.
I think Sakurai would hang himself if that's the case. Who's a director.
Why would he hang himself?
Because he already looks disheveled. He's talked openly about how much like the fans just make him depressed because they're so aggressive with their needs.
Right.
I mean,
give me Waluigi now.
I think the Smash fan base is insufferable.
Yeah.
And that's probably why you do an announcement for an announcement. Because if you don't give it its own space for the very final fighter, like that's all anybody would be talking about,
At this point in time, it's got to be Waluigi.
I would say if it's not Waluigi, you got to riot.
Yeah.
He as favorite as Banjo-Kazooie was, a while ago, it feels like that's the fire that Waluigi has now.
It's probably going to be some weird, obscure, Japanese-only character.
No, it's going to be another Fire Emblem character or something.
Or it's going to be another sword combatant.
Yeah. Anyway, on to better things. I don't know. I could not read your guys' body language how you feel about Kirby and the Forgotten Land because I watched that trailer and I think it looks adorable. I think it looks great.
Yeah, I think it looks great. It's just the idea of Kirby in a post-apocalyptic Tokyo or whatever is hilarious.
When I first saw the buildings, because I walked into the trailer without seeing the beginning.
Thought it was New Donk City, didn't you?
I legitimately thought this was going to be just like a cutesy version of either like Horizon Zero Dawn or something. And then I'm like, That's Kirby. And I'm like, what is Kirby doing in Horizon Zero Dawn?
Right. I glanced up and saw the city ruins. I was like, are they finally porting Automata to Switch? But no.
I thought it looked great, man.
No, it does. It looks great. It looks so good.
And like I was getting flashbacks of the original Kirby. Like some of the enemies that they've turned into 3D, and then him sucking them up and shooting them, and the noises that it makes. Like, remember the noise that makes when you shot the stars out or whatever? The bosses look interesting and fun, but not like too difficult. I don't know. I'm not even a big Kirby guy. I've never been a huge Kirby guy. I played the first one and loved it, but that's about the extent of my Kirby playing. I just never got into that. What was the Yard one? There was a Yarn Kirby.
Yeah.
It was so stupid easy. It was kind of a joke, and not in a good way like Hoa was, where it was relaxing. It was just like, I don't know.
Kirby's always seemed like the kid entry, like the early kid entry for Nintendo for me.
Until it's a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to play this game. I really do.
Yeah, I think the only Kirby I really played in depth was Crystal Shards, but it was a lot of fun. And this looks like a great evolution of the franchise. I don't know. It's probably a good way to experiment with some Mario ideas too.
You know what my favorite Kirby game was Superstar. What was it? The mini golf game on Super Nintendo. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It is a
Kirby's
great little
course.
Dreamland Course or something like that. Yeah, it was a great Kirby game. Anyway, this going to 3D. I'm all over this. Just getting the different powers and exploring the world, and it just he seems like such a fish out of water in every level that he's in. Like he almost feels like he doesn't belong. You know, kind of like how Mario did back in the day, but we're so used to it. Like just seeing, an Italian plumber, we just know it now. Kirby's always been like in a dreamland type thing where he's like in this whimsical world. And now it's like he's in something somewhat realistic. I don't know. I'm all about it. All right, moving on. There's another direct coming for Animal Crossing, exclusively for Animal Crossing. I know a lot of people are really excited about that. I'm not one of them.
No, I don't think. This ain't the crew.
I actually told my son AJ, because he's actually been playing my copy of Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
I still have yet to even boot it up. Mostly because it's not Story of Seasons or Harvest Moon.
Boy, we're like totally dogging on this Nintendo Direct. I think the really interesting stuff is coming. Although Kirby the Forgotten Land.
The nice thing is that's what I love about Nintendo. There's always something for everyone.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we're not dogging on it. Game of the show was already talked about, bro.
For you.
Mario Golf Super Rush is getting new characters and courses.
Got them. It was later that day.
Oh, was it? They were released that day? Oh, you're right. Disney Magical World 2 Enchanted Edition coming holiday this year. CB already mentioned KOTOR coming to Switch on November 11th. You're right. Dying Light 2 Stay Human Cloud version and Dying Light Platinum Edition coming to Switch. Triangle Strategy, wasn't that originally called like Project Triangle Strategy or something?
I love that they just stuck with the code name.
Yeah, which looks like an interesting RPG with tactics style combat, right?
Right, but it's all about choice and consequences. Like I think you're like supposed to judge your own judgment versus standard morality or something like that. It's all about like the scales of judgment. Seems really cool. I also love that it is a game called Triangle Strategy being published by Square.
I
never even made that connection until just when you said that.
Square is just two triangles.
Well done.
Whoa, man, that's deep.
Can we talk about Metroid Dread? Because when this is announced, I was like, oh, hey, cool. Back at E3 when it was announced, I was like, hey, cool, a new Metroid game. The more I see of this game, the better it looks. I am all in on Metroid Dread. Yeah. Has it just been too long since we've had a new 2D Metroid game that I'm just jonesing, or does it look good to you guys too?
I'm just disappointed because my amiibos have been delayed.
You'll still get them.
I know, but still. No, I'm still all aboard this game. I actually cannot wait for this.
One of my favorite things of going to like Metroid Prime was seeing things that I remembered from old games and seeing them in 3D. And I feel like it's been so long since we've had a new Metroid adventure. And by the way, the story trailer in this one, they made it more apparent that this is a sequel to Metroid Fusion. Because you remember in Metroid Fusion, they had that like, I don't even remember what they were called. It was like X something, like there was amoeba like substances that were like taken over or whatever. Because that's what you're doing is you're going to explore that substance on this planet, this new planet. But I just feel like we're going to get lots of callbacks to the original stuff, which is what made Metroid so special to me back in the day.
Well, also makes it all the more frustrating that there's no Metroid Fusion.
Yeah, I get that.
Is this the first HD Metroid game?
Possibly, because I don't think the 3DS doesn't have any HD, right?
Technically, yes, full HD.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Because, well, you cross into a weird gray area because every Metroid game on GameCube was technically HD, just low HD.
Right, but like when they were developing, right, the textures aren't developed for HD, right? Because that's just fascinating to me. That's nuts. HD's been around a while.
Yeah. Well, we haven't had a new Metroid game in a while. The closest we got was Samus Returns, right?
Right. Well, then they had that terrible Metroid Prime, like multiplayer
Federation Force.
Federation Force. That's right. Yeah, that was awful.
I didn't even play it. It just looked awful.
We could all agree Other M is the best one.
we had Prime Trilogy on Wii. It was
Okay, you were being sarcastic, right?
I
Please
would
tell
like
me
to,
you're being
yeah,
sarcastic.
say for the record, I was joking about Metroid Other
Okay.
M, which I actually do think was fun to play, but that story took everything down.
Is that the one where she gives a thumbs up?
Yeah, it's also the one where she doesn't use parts of her armor until her commanding officer tells her to.
Yeah,
Which-
we're gonna unlock this part for you now.
Which it doesn't really doesn't line up with Samus's character like at all.
No,
Very strange game.
or like just common sense. Like you're on this mission, we're not gonna give you everything available to you. We're gonna like piecemeal it out to you. That doesn't make any sense.
Right, and then she saw Ridley and had a panic attack. That game's garbage.
I want to go back and replay it because I never finished it. I got really frustrated, and I want to go back and see if it's as bad as I remember.
I think it
Do
would
you have
be,
it, CB?
yeah.
All right.
the combat and exploration were good. I thought
The which one?
the combat and exploration of Other M were good. I thought
Oh, were they? Okay.
just like I mean, like Metroid with a melee focus was kind of fun.
Wasn't there also like portions where like you would switch to 3D mode to like solve puzzles or open doors or something?
Yeah, one also like use first person kind of a weird way.
Yeah.
Just a bizarre game. It would be delightful to like just watch the cutscenes together, just laugh at them.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
We'll add
But,
that to
Metroid-
our weekend.
Yes,
What's
We'll add that to our weekend.
So we're gonna watch Super Mario Brothers. We're gonna play Metroid Other M.
or at least watch the
Well,
cutscenes. We
watch
should
the
get
cutscenes together.
we'll get drunk while we're watching Mario, and then when we are drunk, we will watch the Other M cutscenes.
Or the other way around.
I think Other M would be a lot more fun while wasted.
You think so? Okay.
Anyway,
Metroid Dread. I thought it was interesting that the antagonist, as it were, in there, the Emmy robot. I was under the impression there was one, and it looked like in this one that there's multiple. Did you guys watch the trailer or no?
yeah, watch the direct. I don't remember there being multiple. I think it'd be a lot more interesting if it's just one.
I thought it would be two, so I was kind of disappointed. Maybe I misread it, but or misunderstood what I was watching. But I was just so enamored with everything. The idea of Kraid being chained up and you get to go see him, that was kind of cool. Like, why is he chained up? Who did it? Is it the Chozo? Are you gonna have a conversation with him, or like, what? I don't know how that's gonna work.
I mean, this game looks like it's going deep on Chozo lore, which is cool.
Right, which is something that's always been kind of mysterious in the Metroid games.
Right,
And,
as long as they don't
Right.
mess it up, it'll be awesome.
Right. Okay, well, let's go to the next big announcement, which our listeners definitely alluded to quite often, was the Nintendo Switch expansion pack, which is the N64 and Genesis games coming to the Switch. Let's start with the N64 launch lineup. Again, this is just launch lineup. Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Mario Kart 64, Star Fox 64, Sin and Punishment, Dr. Mario 64, Mario Tennis 64, Winback, and Yoshi's Story. Some pretty heavy hitters there. I think I want to play Star Fox 64
Yes,
so bad.
so badly. I'm also
Um,
excited for Sin and Punishment, which is another rail shooter like Star Fox. But I don't even know if we had a North American release. But it's a game I've always
We
wanted
didn't.
to play. Yeah,
Okay.
didn't. There you go. We didn't.
That's what gets me so excited about this expansion pack, though, is the fact that there's a plethora of N64 European and Japanese exclusive titles
Oh, okay.
that were slotted to come here but got canceled.
So you get to play some games for the first time in the US.
Yeah.
Well, I think opening it up with something as obscure as Sin and Punishment hopefully bodes well for the future.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
look at all the weird stuff we've been getting on Super Nintendo and
Yeah.
NES
True.
on there, so we could get this weird stuff that nobody wanted, but then you find out you do want it. Who knows? As for the Genesis lineup, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Streets of Rage 2, Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines, Contra Hardcore, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Golden Axe, Gunstar Heroes, Musha, Phantasy Star 4, Rystar, Shining Force, Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master, and Strider. Now, I'm obviously not the aficionado when it comes to Genesis, but I feel like there's quite a few heavy hitters in there.
Yeah. I was kind of blown away by this list because you have Castlevania Bloodlines, Contra Hardcore, Gunstar Heroes, Phantasy Star 4, Shining Force, Shinobi 3, and Musha. all of these in the collector market are easily $100 plus games. Musha is almost $1,000 game.
Whoa, what is Musha about?
It's a mech fighter.
Okay. I'm in.
And I know myself, our producer Nate Lucas, and Kevin Honigford all have been trying to track down a physical copy of this game just to play.
Well, hey, look, this means the price will drop.
No, it won't.
No?
No. Because
Not anymore.
I've already looked, like when they've released some of these other games, like Earthbound, didn't even drop. Like the price never changed. The price, the physical price will not change.
But he used to. He's not wrong there.
Yeah, it used to.
There might be some fraud going on in the market. I hope there's somewhere where we can listen to more information.
Yeah, I have no idea where that could be coming from.
Patreon.com/thegocast. And then other N64 games coming later on: Banjo-Kazooie, Pokemon Snap, The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask, Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards, Mario Golf, Paper Mario, and F-Zero X.
Hell yeah, to F-Zero X, man.
X, yeah.
You kidding me? I mean, I'm also excited that Microsoft is letting them have Banjo-Kazooie. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It also speaks to their relationship, you know?
And the original Paper Mario, great game.
Yeah, absolutely. But F-Zero X, like as part of a service, you know, similar to Game Pass where you can just hop in, like that's so perfect for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is one of the few times that every single game they've listed is great.
Yeah, nothing but
like,
bangers.
Good to great. Like there is not a turd in this.
Right.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is you will have to pay, if I'm reading this right, you will have to pay a premium for the N64 and Genesis games, correct?
You will.
$3.99. I'm predicting right now $3.99 a pop.
Oh,
What?
I didn't think. No, I thought it was going to be a bump in the subscription service. Now, there's going to be different tiers of the Nintendo Online.
Yeah,
I'm willing to bet these are just going to be $3.99 a pop.
No, they definitely sold it as an extension to your Nintendo Switch Online subscription.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah,
yeah, but it's going to be like a more. You can have regular Nintendo Online, which is what, like $35 a year, or you can have another version of it that will include N64 and Genesis games. But they said that the service or pricing details are coming soon, and the service will be available in October. So what's you're going to say $3.99 a pop to purchase?
They left that whole pricing details coming soon just to see how much hype is going to be driven by this, on whether or not they're just going to be like, you know what, we're just going to release these all as digital games instead.
No, they're not going to do that.
That's not gonna happen. Sorry.
I don't know, man.
It's just not even what the market is anymore. The market demands streaming.
Yep. People are okay paying for a subscription service, especially when you're lumping in online on top of it.
Now, what the increase will be, I got no idea.
So I'm just surprised that they're like, oh, pricing coming soon. Like, you announce all these titles and you don't know what you plan on pricing this at already.
Right, and a month away. So it's definitely, they know what the price is, and I think it's higher than we think it is.
I was going to say $60.
You think it's almost going to double the price of Nintendo Switch Online?
Yeah. That's still like, what, like half of... Or wait, how much is a Xbox Live or PlayStation
They're 60.
membership?
$60 for the year?
They're 60.
$60 for the year? And they, you're not getting a bunch of classics with that. You're getting... Let's be honest, when's the last time either of you played a Games with Gold game or PlayStation Plus game?
Well, I mean, I buy Ultimate so I get Game Pass included.
Right.
Which I use religiously.
Well, yeah, I use Game Pass as well, but I'm talking about the Games with Gold. Like the freebies that you get.
Just add them to the library, move on, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pricing details coming soon. We're pairing with Game Pass.
Wouldn't that be something?
And then all this is cross on Game Pass.
And then I can play all these games on my Xbox.
That won't happen.
Oh, I mean,
it'll be
Xbox
a game. It'll be a boutique.
Xbox did give him Banjo-Kazooie.
It'll be a boutique Game Pass exclusively for Nintendo Switch.
Oof. And on top of that, there are also going to be N64 and Genesis controllers coming to the Switch. Why anyone would want to play a Nintendo 64 game with a Nintendo 64 controller is beyond me. And that's coming from a person that held a Nintendo 64 controller this weekend.
Not good.
It's an awful controller. It's terrible.
I think I'm the right age for that controller to be awesome, but I don't know if I would go backwards if I don't have to.
I will say, depending on which Genesis controllers they do, I'm all for it. Because if they use the 6-button Genesis controller, I love that controller.
Well, they pictured the 3-button. $50 for the 3-button Genesis controller seems a bit egregious.
I mean, let's be honest. Nintendo knows that collectors are after these things, and they're going to make them sparsely available. It's what Nintendo does, so they can charge whatever they want.
I mean, I still might buy it just because it's a Sega controller with a Nintendo brand license.
See, but there's no if. It's not if, it's when. When it comes to you.
I have not really bought any Nintendo Switch accessories.
No, but you bought a whole bunch of Nintendo Legos.
Yeah, I did. But I want the Sega Genesis one because I think it's going to be hilarious to have I might buy 2 of them, one to keep sealed because it's a Sega Genesis controller with Nintendo branding on it.
Yeah. And when are you going to see that again?
Being a kid that grew up during those console wars, it's something that I never in my wildest dreams thought I would see.
Yeah. I agree. Moving on. The Shadowrun trilogy coming to Switch 2022. Never played the Shadowrun games. I'm not even certain what they are. Is that an RPG game?
Yeah, it's like I guess XCOM-ish sort of game.
Oh.
But I mean, with more. Well, that's like the combat. The actual RPGing is way more involved with a lot of decision making and stuff like that. I think they always look really cool. I think I kickstarted the first one on PC and then just never played it.
Huh. Interesting. I think this one excited me most out of anything that was not expected, which I guess it kind of was the Castlevania Advance Collection. Not only did they announce it, but they said, "Oh, by the way, it's available right now."
Yeah, that was a great move.
Yes.
Aria of Sorrow, the best Castlevania, is on there.
And it's on everything. It's not just Nintendo. You can actually get it on Xbox as well. So I may be picking that one up.
I still find it funny that Castlevania Dracula X is on the Advance Collection.
Yeah, I think we were all just kind of ignoring that, right? As best we can. Nobody wants that. So weird to include it here.
Have you played it?
No, I have never played it.
It is hard.
It legitimately is stupid hard.
It is so hard, man. I remember playing it as a kid, just going like when you get one game every month or so, and that's all you can play. I worked through that game. It is not easy. I think that's where I learned to curse when I was a kid. I was playing Dracula X.
It's an expensive title these days.
Yes, it is. But I don't know. Those Game Boy Advance games, I have a lot of good memories of those.
I do. I have
Gear Gated adventures.
A lot of nostalgia in those Gear Gated games. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then ActRaiser Renaissance. Who saw this coming?
Nah, no one.
What a random pull.
Unlike the Castlevania Advance Collection, which was just an open secret that it existed, this is a complete surprise.
Yeah.
Very cool. I almost bought it just based on like surprise hype.
Yeah. Because it's only, is it like $15 or something? It's not like
30.
Is it 30?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, if it was 15, I definitely would have gotten it, but it was more a time holding me back because I've always been like so entranced by ActRaiser, but I never have played it.
Same here. I played it a little bit, but then as a kid, when you get to the world building stuff, I just kind of tuned out. All I wanted to do was run around with a sword.
But fusing those two genres sounds awesome. I'm so intrigued. But it even with the awesome move of just announcing it and releasing it, dude, there's just too many games.
There's just so much to play. I can't keep up at all. Deltarune Chapter 2 is all available now. I don't know what that is, but it gave me vibes of that game that my students are always talking about.
It's the follow-up. It's a follow-up to Undertale.
Thank you. Okay, it looked like Undertale to me.
I think it has some universe connections, I want to say. I would not speak confidently about that, but what a great reminder that I have not played Deltarune, and I should, because Undertale was very good.
And a reminder to me that I did not get very far in Undertale, and I need to see what all the hype is about.
I think at this point it could not live up to the hype.
No.
No.
Then there was a sizzle reel, Hot Wheels Unleashed, Surviving the Aftermath, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Wreckfest, Arcade Archives Pac-Man, Arcade Archives Xevious, Rune Factory 5. They were all very briefly shown on in that reel. And then the Super Mario Brothers movie has a release date.
Shoot me.
December 21st, 2022.
Shoot me. Sorry.
Shoot
Continue.
you.
Right in the head.
You're not interested in this?
No.
It's not a Super Mario Brothers movie.
Huh?
To me, it's not a Super Mario Brothers movie.
No, I am sure I will see it because it is Super Mario Brothers. So I will admit that right away.
No.
But this cast
it's
so bad.
It's not a Super Mario Brothers movie.
It looks... We'll run down the cast, but it looks as though you went to a Tumblr fan cast blog and just went with like what some 11-year-old kid thought would be cool in the roles, and they were just like, yeah, let's just do that.
All right, go ahead.
So Chris Pratt is playing Mario in the most baffling casting decision I've ever heard of. I can't believe they would cast him in this. Oh, and then Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be Peach, which is, I guess the Queen's Gambit hype is real. Charlie Day of Always Sunny in Philadelphia is going to be Luigi. Jack,
I can see that.
If you use Luigi as like a joke, like a secondary joke character, yeah, I agree.
You mean like he has been in every Paper Mario game?
But yeah. No, if he is used like he is in Paper Mario, then it is perfect. I will concur. Jack Black is going to be the menacing Bowser.
That I don't get.
And the only great casting is Keegan-Michael Key as Toad.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of fun. Especially
that one works.
Especially if it's like in the games where every Toad is basically the same. If he's just voicing every Toad, that's awesome. That's so cool. And then Seth Rogen is going to be Donkey Kong. They did put Charles Martinet on the poster, voice of Mario for the past 30 years. We don't really know what he's doing. I assume he'll be doing the Wapoos or something. But boy, I have never rolled my eyes harder than when they were. I'm going to
tell you right now, this movie to me is a joke.
It's unbelievable.
This is an utter joke and a slap in the face.
I don't understand what it's going to be. I can't wrap my head around what this is going to look or sound like.
To me, it seems like they're using the animation style from the current stuff. So everything that Mario looks like currently is what it's going to look like. To me, the only way these casting, like all these people make sense, is if they do it like the Lego movie.
Yeah, it's got to be a comedy, which is not what I want from a Mario Brothers movie. Like I don't want like the cast looks like it's going to mock Mario. Like it does not look like it is a celebration of Mario.
Well, the bigger slap in the face is the fact that you put Charles Martinet in as just role to be announced. The guy that has voiced Mario since ever, and you're we're gonna choose Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I'm not. I understand depressingly that we were never going to get a Mario movie with Charles Martinet as Mario. Like it's just not the world we live in. But Chris Pratt?
No, but here's the problem. You're making a movie for the fans.
No, they are clearly not.
I'll agree.
No interest in the fans.
Every single kid or person who's ever played any of these games is going to hear the voices and be like, what the hell is going on? What is this? Like, you thought the 93 Super Mario Brothers was a disaster? This is already shaping up to be an atrocity.
They couldn't have cast this worse if it was on purpose.
Oh, I was not expecting this much level of vitriol.
Are you kidding me? Jack Black as Bowser?
Let's
Jack take Black. A menace. I love Jack Black too, but let's take a menacing character and make him comedic.
I mean,
he
just
was comedic in the games.
In Paper Mario somewhat, right? But like in the proper Mario games, he's always got menacing music, and his levels are fire castles that almost have like horror tones behind it. Doesn't conjure to mind Jack Black.
Bowser's Fury.
Bowser's Fury.
They're trying to make him scary again.
He was like a kaiju kind of dude. No.
We're gonna make Donkey Kong a pot smoking hippie.
That's a weird one.
I'm sorry, like, who in the like? I'm surprised that Nintendo's even signed off on this. Like, Nintendo had such a bad taste in their mouth from the 1993 movie that they refused to make another movie until now, and they're just like, "This is what you're gonna do."
Yeah, it's.
I actually
I'm gonna
zero
reserve
interest in
judgment until I get more information, because I'm a little like you guys. I'm like, I just don't understand how it's gonna work. I can't picture in my head these Mario characters with those voices coming out of it. Okay, Anna Taylor-Joy. Okay. Is there gonna be like heavy modulation on everybody's voices, or to almost where it's not recognizable that it's them?
I think you're going to get a comedy movie that is almost making fun of the Mushroom Kingdom and stuff. Because the cast, okay, like Charlie Day has a very distinct voice. So why would you cast him unless he's going to sound like Charlie Day? Or Seth Rogen or Jack Black? Like, all these people have incredibly recognizable voices.
Because you can't make him sound Italian, right?
No. Yes. Chris Pratt, not Italian.
I know, I'm just saying, like,
you know what? And as with most things, I hope that I am wrong, and I hope that a trailer comes out and proves me wrong. But this looks like a cast for a Borderlands animated movie.
Yeah,
yeah, I could actually see that.
In fact, there's one crossover with Jack Black.
After the debacle of like the way Sonic looked in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and they're like, hold the phone, we're gonna completely reanimate this. Like, is there gonna be like the last minute decision to be like, we just have to redo all the lines?
You know what's funny is that the internet's reaction to Chris Pratt as Mario is about the same as it was for Sonic's first appearance, but it's just they spent too much money. There's no saving the voice cast, that's for sure.
Like I said, I have zero interest in seeing this.
I think my favorite is like early shot of Mario and Yoshi, and it's a picture of Chris Pratt with one of the raptors from Jurassic World.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
That was. I agree. That's funny. Hey, look, I love Star-Lord to death, but Chris Pratt, first of all, is everywhere, and it is obnoxious. He's a Troy Baker of the actual movie world, and he is inescapable. And this is not. What a weird choice.
Yeah,
I'll agree. It's a weird choice. But let's move on. We got a couple more to talk about. Splatoon 3. Huh?
So I don't know if I have it in me. I gotta calm down. I've been saving that up since the announcement.
Deep breaths, man. Deep breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth.
Yeah.
Splatoon 3. I am personally not too interested in it, but you guys seem pretty hyped for it.
I played a great deal of Splatoon 2 online. I never actually messed with the campaign, which is very unlike me. So I don't really know what's up with the mammalians, but more Splatoon's a good thing. I think that is a very fun shooter. I like that it is a shooter that's not about killing.
Mm-hmm.
My son will be more excited than I am.
It makes me want to go back and play the campaign of Splatoon 2.
I was going to say, isn't there a campaign on this one as well?
Yeah. Well, the campaign was supposed to be pretty good. I just never did it. Splatoon's huge with the kids in Japan. There's even like a manga that's like 11 volumes deep now. It's a whole industry, man.
And then lastly, the big surprise, which was fun because I got to send the trailer to Zack before he knew it. I felt like you didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, no, I was busy at the time. I was behind on the direct.
And Bayonetta 3, which did you know it? Well, you knew it was because I sent you the link and it had it right in there. But watching this trailer, it wasn't clear that it was going to be a Bayonetta game until like right when she showed up.
Which was the right way to do it. I do wish I had like seen it.
Sorry, man.
No, I mean, the internet would have ruined it anyway.
Yeah.
Do you want to? Can I tell you a fun fact, by the way?
Sure.
So, Bayonetta 3 was announced at the Game Awards like 2017. It has been 1,386 days between announcement and first trailer.
Wow.
Just want to point that out. That's an insane amount of time for Nintendo to just be dead ass quiet.
Hey, you get to finally remove that counter though.
Yeah, that website's going to be useless now.
So, what did you like about this trailer? Like, what's different? Because I haven't played the other two.
I would say I would say almost nothing is different other than her hair, but more Bayonetta is exactly what I wanted. And the announcement trailer or whatever painted a picture. She's going to be in dire straits, but it was she's just such a fun character, and it's such a ridiculous world that like that's all I need, man. Give me more Bayonetta. She's cool, and it's a sexy character that owns it, and the plots are always time traveling ridiculousness, but just the flashy action and the inability to ever predict what the next level will be is a great thrill.
I feel like they're not leaning into the overt sexuality as much as they did in the first one.
It does not appear that she gets naked when she uses magic anymore.
Right.
I tell you, getting woke over at the Bayonetta crew.
CB, did you play the first two?
No.
I played a little bit of the first one. Never touched the second one. I'm just terrible at action
me
combo
too.
Games.
I do. I am terrible at these games in particular. I'm
really?
decent at Devil May Cry, but I'm awful at Bayonetta.
Weird.
I think I booted up Bayonetta 1 once.
I think 2 is a marked improvement.
I remember the side character in the first one was super annoying.
Yes.
I just was done with him like right off the bat, and you have to listen to him the whole game. Anyway, that was the Nintendo Direct. Lots of interesting things. What was the biggest standout that wasn't made by Yoko Taro? Zack,
nice qualifier. I guess Bayonetta 3, like it was just, yeah, like I kind of freaked out when you sent me the link, man. Like that's very exciting. It started to look like we were never actually going to see this game.
Yeah.
So it's probably that or honestly the Nintendo 64 thing, although I am very cautious about the pricing.
Yeah.
But I want to play Star Fox 64 immediately.
Yeah, like I kind of want to just like go over to CB's and just like play it on 64.
I would at the very least pay for a month just to play that.
Yeah. I've been itching to play through Ocarina again, and that game does not look super great on a 64 tube TV.
Yeah.
So I guess I have the 3DS version, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I just want to play it on my Switch. It's like where everything else is. That is going to be a nostalgia trip game for me. What about you, CB?
Yeah,
Oh, the expansion passes, bar none.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, the rest, cool. I want to watch... I want to play those, and I want to see how many switches melt under Dying Light 2.
Yeah.
I gotta...
See, here's it. Go ahead.
I respect CB, who's like, yeah, all this new stuff's fine, but I want what I had 20 years ago again.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah.
Well,
you can
like in my situation, I never had a Genesis. So these are a lot of brand new games to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it might be worth a month.
I can't wait to see how many of you play for 5 minutes and then never touch again.
Yeah, I mean, I have played Echo the Dolphin. I've played Sonic 2 a little bit at Extra Life. CB made me play it so he could laugh at how terrible I was.
What?
Yeah. He's not good at Sonic.
I just can't believe you haven't played it in one of the 1,400 re-releases.
No. That was the first time I think I ever played Sonic 2.
Oh my god, it's one of the best games ever.
I will say, though, I am a little disappointed with the fact that they're going with Phantasy Star 4 first.
I feel like 4 and 2 are the beloved ones.
I know, but they should have at least put 2 instead of 4.
I mean, why wouldn't you just put them all up there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the thing that intrigues me the most in terms of actually purchasing is the Castlevania collection. Just because those are some good games.
Yes.
Those are some Great games.
Yeah, for a gentleman who's known to not be into Symphony of the Night, I did like the GBA ones.
But, Metroid Dread probably might even be higher than that, because that game is just looking cooler and cooler to me. And I miss the Metroid lore and the nostalgia feels. I mean, even Super Metroid, we talked about in our Patreon episode, the opening of Super Metroid where you come into the planet where you fought the boss of the first game was just so freaking cool as a kid. Like, just stuff like that Metroid does that doesn't happen in sequels anymore. Where you, like, retread, not just like in a cutscene, where you actually go through and experience it. I just, that's one of the reasons I've always loved the Metroid series, is the fact that they do that. So I'm hoping that we get a lot of that in Metroid Dread. Anyway, that was a fun topic. Next week, if I'm looking at my calendar correctly, it is the first of the month, which means it is community question time. So we will be reaching out to you guys once again for some questions that we can answer and discuss on the show. So stay tuned for the social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, and Discord, where we'll post and ask you guys for questions. But that is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thanks for sticking around. Zach, any parting words before we get out of here?
I did finish up Sex Education Season 3, and it is everything I wanted it to be. Delivered on all fronts. That show is incredible. Everyone should do themselves a favor and watch it. Explores humanity and sexuality in a very honest way. Good stuff. Season 3 delivered on a three season promise that made me squeal like a little girl.
And which network is that on, or what streaming service?
A Netflix original.
Netflix original, okay. I think I watched the first episode, and I enjoyed it, and I don't know why I didn't go back. So I may have to remedy that.
It just gets better and better.
Nice. CB, how about you?
I have a non-recommendation.
Are you going to tell people to avoid something?
Yes.
Is it the Mario Brothers movie?
No, that'll come later. I don't know. Did either one of you see the movie Escape Room?
Yeah, I thought it was actually really solid.
Don't watch the sequel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, stay far away.
Didn't know they made one.
The first.
It's called Escape Room Tournament of Champions. It's not good.
The first one was a surprise for me because I did not expect to like it, and I thought it was pretty solid.
Yeah, I liked the first one. Second one, no. I regret renting that. It just didn't have the same feel, and just the way they ended it, I'm like, ugh. It just left such a bad taste in my mouth that I'm like, no, I really hope you don't make a third one, because it's only going to get worse.
I want to go back and spend some time watching movies. I don't feel like I do that anymore. What's my next break? Christmas? I guess something before Christmas?
No, Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I get like a day for Thanksgiving.
I get like 2.
Christmas is like 2 weeks. Fantastic.
Just gotta learn to use that special time portal.
Yeah, I haven't figured out how to do that yet. CB, you are the master at that. But well, guys, thanks so much for being here, and everybody listening, thanks for listening. The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas. Want to remind you of that. He puts in a lot of work for us over here, and all the music you hear on this episode is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. Remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.